Hey guys, I'm Yume playing as a zero main in MSEA server Aquila world. This is the first time I'm making a video guide, so I hope you'll bear with me. For this guide, I'll be covering the Black Mage specifically for zero gameplay. It consists of the tips and tricks as well as mistakes to avoid based on the experience that I've garnered over the course of liberating my Genesis weapon. First and foremost, this guide isn't a guide about the boss mechanics or the damage and prerequisite that you require before attempting the boss. So, at this point, if you are unfamiliar with the boss mechanics and have not yet attempted the boss at least once, I would suggest that you pause this video or bookmark it first. Then head over to the description of this video where I have linked a comprehensive guide for Black Mage. This guide has been extremely helpful for my party when we first started out, and I hope you'll spend some time, preferably together with your party as well, to read through the document at least once before continuing with this video. Assuming that you have done so, let's get started with this video guide proper. Before entering phase 1, ensure that your double time is fully stacked as you'll want to do as much damage as possible when the fight starts. Upon entry, if you are the binder, use steadfast call immediately to prevent any super knockbacks from the knight's attack. For this phase, there are two different gameplays depending on whether your party has a Kanna or not. For the first gameplay whereby your party has a Kanna, you will first move to the right side of the map away from the knights and wait for your Kanna to call out the bind timer. After that, rush back to the knights and get ready to follow up with Shadow Rain or after Lucid Bind if your party has one. This gameplay is fairly straightforward, and I will recommend going this route, especially if your party doesn't have any other binder, because limit break cooldown is insanely long, a good 240 seconds. And more so, if your party isn't able to defeat the knights in one bind. Otherwise, if your party is strong enough to defeat the knights in just one bind, then it should be fine. For the second gameplay whereby your party doesn't have a Kanna, usually the zero will end up being the binder, and I will also recommend for it to be so, even if there are other classes that can bind multiple targets in your party. This is because the main objective of the binder is to get both knights positioned at the same spot before binding them for optimal damage output. And here is where zero shines because of critical bind or C-bind for short, which allows you to bind the black knight first such that the white knight will either rush or teleport to the same spot as the former before using limit break to bind both of them. To pull this off successfully, before entering Black Mage, ensure that you are in your alpha form and upon entry, use 3 times of A4 to generate the electric field. This is to draw the white knight aggro towards you while you head over to the black knight and try to proc C-bind. Then, wait for the white knight to move to the same spot and proceed to limit break bind. However, there might be occasions where the black knight gets released from C-bind before the white knight moves to the same spot. This has happened for quite a number of my runs. Sometimes, the white knight doesn't move at all, and that is mostly due to me forgetting to aggro the white knight upon entry. Sometimes, it moves a little bit later than expected, and this might result in you missing limit break when the black knight teleports after C-bind release. The next best thing to do is to follow up with 2 Shadow Rains to ensure that both knights continue to be bound before your Lucid Binder binds them again, prioritizing binding the white knight if they are no longer in the same spot. If all goes well and your party is able to defeat the knights in one bind, your run has just become a lot easier. If not, you will need to avoid the white knight by running all the way to the right corner after the bind is released, as it is furthest away from the white knight, which you should try to avoid at all costs in order not to get white curse. Then, be patient and try your best to avoid the various attack patterns while waiting for your next bind to be up, and using it when the 2 knights are in the same position if possible. Do note that this will become an extremely difficult and tough fight, especially if you are new. If your party is unable to defeat the knights within one bind, inclusive of the Shadow Rain chaining, then it might be a sign to gain some levels or upgrade your gears for more damage. Don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that it's impossible, but just tough. For phase 2, you will want to position at the right side of the Black Mage for most of the fight other than dodging attacks. This would allow you ample space to dodge the purple meteors, since they always fall from the top right corner to the left. Another reason for doing so as zero players is that it will give you optimal damage output for throwing weapon if you position yourself correctly to ensure all hits land on Black Mage, since he has a relatively large hitbox. Zero's survivability in this phase is really high, as you'll be able to use Flash Assault or Burst Step to reposition yourself during the chains attack when your health gets low. Coupled together with Beta Shield, the odds of you dying due to physical damage would be low if you play it right. An important thing to look out for would be the vertical meteor attack occurring exactly at the same time as the FMA. Most of my death in phase 2 would be this combo, especially if you're at one corner of the map and the safe spot for FMA is at the other corner. While rushing to that corner, you might end up hitting the vertical meteor which are in your blind spots in order to make it to the safe spot in time. To avoid this, you will need to practice dodging the vertical meteor using double burst step upwards, then horizontally, since most of the other classes have only one way to dodge the vertical meteors, and that is to weave in between them. But it might be too slow sometimes to take cover for FMA in that few seconds of time. Since the purple meteors also appear in phase 3, I will elaborate more about dealing with them later. For now, let's move on to phase 3. Phase 3 is without a doubt the most difficult phase and the greatest hurdle that all teams must overcome before they can defeat the Black Mage. For attack rotations, since I have done most of my Black Mage runs before the beta attack speed buff patch, I have been using B4, B1 as beta and A3, A2, A1 as alpha, also known as the Apex combo in the Zero Discord channel. After the patch, since my head has 2 second CD reduction, I switched to using 2 times of B3, B2 for beta, no change for alpha. This is because, as mentioned earlier, throwing weapon is really efficient against a huge boss like Black Mage. This combo also ensures that you have sufficient time to complete the rotation before Black Mage pushes, which is the main cause of getting double curse in this phase. Positioning of the Black Mage is extremely important in this phase, as it would help you dodge the purple meteor attacks more easily. I'm not going into details about this, as it should be available in most general guides. Just remember to call out whenever you notice that he's out of position, as it takes the whole team effort to achieve this. Now, with regards to dodging the purple meteor attack pattern, I'm assuming that you have Blink at your disposal. If not, please just get it for goodness sake. Most of the time, Blink is enough to answer this. If for some reason you don't like Blink, or you have used it recently to dodge something else and it is on cooldown, then you might want to watch the next section. Otherwise, feel free to skip this. I would like to talk about the 3 common scenarios that you might encounter for the purple meteor attack. Firstly, the best scenario would be that there is only 1 or 2 purple meteors heading your direction, and you are positioned at the right side away from Black Mage, who is in between platform 4 and 5. For this scenario, all you have to do is to double jump against the wall followed by a burst step upwards. Simple. The second scenario would be that there are 3 purple meteors heading your direction and there are no gaps in between them. For this, you can do a double jump against the wall, followed by a burst step upwards, followed by a rolling cross away from the wall, back to the wall again, ending with a burst step outwards as you fall down when your burst step cooldown is over. This might be risky to do if the Black Mage is not positioned well. The third scenario would be the worst case scenario, whereby Black Mage is all the way at the right corner together with you, and you have no way to safely dodge the purple meteor, as he would end up pushing you if you were to jump or burst step upwards. For this, you can try to bait out his push attack first, then quickly maneuver away from him towards the center of the map using rolling cross or burst step to sustain as much air time as possible to avoid the purple meteors, because they would be rolling on the floor at this point. Make sure your finger is hovering over your transcendent wheel in the event you would need to use it for safety. Once you have managed to overcome phase 3, the next and final phase is pretty much a breeze for Zero. For phase 4, remember to check that you are using the black aura and therefore taking white curse. If you have BOD, then feel free to do the opposite for more final damage. There's really nothing much to say about this phase for Zero specifically, so I will keep it short and sweet with only 3 points. Firstly, tag into beta before FMA for the chance to proc beta shield while the bullets are hitting, or whenever your HP is low, just tag. Zero is a really good class for this boss, and many of my non-Zero main friends actually envy Zero because of our double life and beta shield. Secondly, avoid using burst step upwards to dodge the bullets during FMA, as you might risk getting hit due to the larger hitbox of the vein at the top being of a different color. Well, I suppose no one would normally do this, and I had no idea why I did it in one of my runs, so I'm putting this out here just in case. Lastly, since Limit Break changes the background of the map, it is advisable to save at least one iframe for the next FMA attack when you use it, as it can become difficult to distinguish the color due to the branches blending with Limit Break background. And that's it for phase 4. In summary, Black Mage requires not just brute force and funding with BOD, as BOD doesn't bypass double curse. Whenever you do your post-run reviews, always question yourself why you are doing certain actions, especially when you die. Then, try to make a mental note and not repeat the same mistakes. With enough practice, that will become your reflex and muscle memory. With that, I wish you all the best for your Black Mage runs and eventually for your liberation journey as well. Aoi Yume, signing off.